Recording in progress.
I know we're going to type that.
Yes.
Is yours the little black one? Yeah. That's cute. I like it. I was like, how is there already a spider? Oh, I know. I freak out when there's spiders in my car.
Oh, it's got me. So you're good to go.
Okay.
Is the clicker working or what are you doing?
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I think it's 10:20 on the dot. Sorry for blasting out the sound system here. That was a little loud. Welcome back. Session 2, day in employment services. I'm very excited for this session. And if you would like to claim CEUs for this exciting session, QR code there, fill out the survey. You guys have heard this all before. So without further ado, join me in welcoming Laura Lagodny, Liz Owens, and a wonderful panel as well that I'm sure we'll be introduced to soon. So join me in welcoming them here. Thank you, everyone. I can't clap with a cup of coffee on that microphone. Oh, sorry.
Good morning, everybody. Like you said, I'm Liz Owens. I'm the CEO with the Alpha Group. We are located, our headquarters is located in Delaware, Ohio, but we provide services in 13 counties around the state to over 700 individuals annually. And we have about 120 staff at any given time throughout the year. So a little bit about me. I have about 27 years of experience in the field, but I've been with the Alpha Group for the last 8 years as their CEO.
Good morning. I'm Laura Lagodny. I'm from Ability Works. We're in Erie County. I've been in the field for about 15 years. We are quite different from Alpha Group. We're smaller. We serve in 6 counties, and we serve over about 340 individuals, and we only have 32 staff. And we'll introduce our panel here.
Hi, I'm Courtney Spencer. I work for Laura at Ability Works, and I do all our marketing communications. So anything from website to social media to anything.
We can't hear you in the back at all.
Okay.
Can you hear me? We heard the two of you, but we did not hear you. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I was not close enough to it. I'm Courtney Spencer. I work for Ability Works. So with Laura, I do any of the marketing communication stuff. So website, social media, making flyers, pamphlets, anything like that.
I'm Morgan Mellon. I work with Liz Owens. I'm also the marketing communications representative for the Alpha Group. I do the same thing she does, but more fundraising. We do have a part-time person that does our social media and our newsletter.
Good morning. My name is Kristen Hampton Harmon, and I am with I Am Boundless. Our administrative offices are in Worthington, but we're a statewide agency serving in over 53 counties. We have approximately 2,000 employees. I've been in public relations for more than 20 years, but I've been on board with Boundless for about 7 months. And I do the same things as well as media relations.
So these are the areas that we just thought we would focus on today. We do want to start off though by telling you that we know we're not the experts. We are just giving you guys our perspectives from our organizations. And we did try to pick 3 different size organizations so you can see what we do for each one. So we're going to talk about the why, marketing, communications, branding, community involvement, partnerships, and fundraising. And we'll probably try to get into each one a little depth. And we do really want you guys to participate in the conversation. So if you have things that you'd like to add as we're going through, raise your hand. We'd be happy to hear from you as well. We always like to hear feedback. So a little bit about the why. I'm going to let Laura go ahead and start.
Yeah. So I wanted to say, I've been in the field for 15 years. I remember going, I started with our county board. I was the first one brought on board that was private, meaning I was an outside employee. And I actually came in marketing and communications, but 15 years ago, that was quite different. We didn't have a website. We were just beginning the privatization. And I remember going to a conference, and I can't remember, it was a larger county that had like a whole staff. I was sitting there going, but how do you do all those things? How do you get that done? I don't have 7 people doing that. I'm just one person. And as we privatized over the years, you had your website in-house, out-house. We changed so different. But then right before COVID, my board came to me because we did not have we were all doing it on the side. Oh, management, post something on social media, a newsletter. Oh, I got to get that out. Client newsletter. It was just like we were all just kind of pitching in, and he said, we started fundraising, and fundraising wasn't part of our vocabulary, or getting grants was sort of part of our vocabulary. But we went from, I believe, like 3% of our annual budget. On our biggest year, we were close to 15% in terms of donations, fundraising, and grants. So that was a significant jump. But when he came to me and said, we need to hire full-time, I'm like, first of all, how are we going to afford it? And now it's, how can we not afford it? So I put an example up here of kind of a return on your investment. If you don't have a dedicated person there, I was like, how are we going to keep her busy? And she's been so busy because of COVID, because of the constant messaging that we had to put out there, how our programs changed. For day services, it was steps. How do you get that out to people? And then just with our fundraising and grants, our grants are significant in our vocabulary. Those foundations see that, they see your presence. Social media is a lot what we do, but I just put, if you just get one client based off of your social media, your families are picking it up. The individuals are picking it up. That was our constant source of communication. So, you know, your return on investment is well worth hiring somebody full-time. To think that you could do a job like this all the time and be effective, it's not going to work.
Yeah, just to add to that, we actually, my organization was privatized when I got there 8 years ago, so I didn't have to go through all of that. But our percent of fundraising has grown a lot as well. But I was kind of different. I went to my board and said, hey, I need that person to do that job. I can't do it all anymore and effectively. We had an out-of-date website. We had marketing materials that were all over the board. Every division was doing their own. There was no continuity from one area to the next. So it's a lot of work to bring all that together and then to drive people to the marketing staff to get it back out. So I agree. They're valuable.
Just to take the temperature, how many people have a full-time marketing person? Raise your hand. Yeah, that's what I figured. So how many people are actually doing it themselves and kind of part-time and struggling staff? And yeah, I get it. I've been there. Yeah.
We also hire a part-time consultant who doesn't work for our organization, but we contract with them to do part-time.
Yep. Great.
But you guys can definitely see the return on investment financially, as well as just the perks that you get from having somebody concentrate on doing that job every single day, because you know they're going to do it much better than you could do it yourself.
Right.
Yeah. So this next slide here is about creating community awareness. We're going to get into each one of these, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Slides almost up, but we're going to talk about website, marketing materials, social media, newsletter, and fundraising. But first, we're going to start off with a panel question. So what is the most important factor for social media and engagement, and what platforms do each of you guys use?
I think the most important factor is really like actually engaging with people. I mean, you can look at your follower count and things like that, but actually seeing that people are commenting on there like, hey, love seeing this thing or great information. You know, you don't want all those vanity metrics. So seeing that you're actually engaging with people, they're not just liking your post or following your account. So that way you can see people actually know who you are. We had one of the groups that we regularly post in made this whole comment about people basically using too much of the group for other stuff. And they were like, yeah, we want important people to be seen on here, such as Ability Works. They named 2 other groups. So that means they're actually noticing what we're sharing. So that's really great. And I guess the platforms we utilize most is pretty much Facebook primarily, just because of the people that we serve in the community we're in. I primarily use Facebook. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, where we kind of see some other stuff, but Facebook is primarily what we use because of the people that we serve in our community.
I'd like to add that posting often. So Facebook has an algorithm. So if you see that you don't see your friends from college often on your Facebook, it's because you're not interacting well or interacting with those posts. So posting often to keep those posts in front of your viewers, as well as following, engaging, asking questions. So people ask questions to you or say, wow, that's a great job, or just keeping them engaged. And then stay in front of your followers. Like I said, with the algorithm, Facebook is the one that I mainly know about. I don't know if Instagram has something like that, but I know that you can like Instagram posts and share them and save them. So that really helps you stay in front on Instagram. And then we also use Facebook and Instagram. We have Twitter, but it doesn't really get much involvement for our organization. So Facebook and Instagram is what we really use.
So I think good storytelling is very important. And so on social media, you have to be very succinct. So we find videos perform the best, photos and stories. And again, like the audience, if you think when you scroll through social media, you get like 6 seconds. So a really long post is not effective. So definitely the visual. Also having a call to action. So maybe you want them to follow you, or maybe you want to get them to a website so that they can do something that gives you more bang for your buck. We focus mainly on Facebook and Instagram for our families and staff, but we also have a lot of success on LinkedIn, and that's with our corporate partners. That's where we acknowledge their donations and partnerships. And we also put our leaders out there for thought leadership. So when they go and speak somewhere, we make sure that that's on LinkedIn.
I lost my train of thought. I had something to add. What was your second to last point? Call to action? No, I'll remember it.
Well, I did want to add something that you reminded me of. So one thing when you do post, it's really important to have links back to stuff, not on every post per se, but if you do post something that's like, I don't know, about your STEPS program and have the link to where they can go to your website, then they're actually going to your website and getting information versus just posting it out there and they see something. And that also boosts all your everything on your website. It gets seen more on Google and all that fancy technology terms.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is where you can get your families really involved. They love seeing, that, okay, somebody got a job and you're posting it. And that really allows them to share with their family. Look what my son or daughter's doing. This is great. This is opportunity. And then we also used it for, our national, we highlighted one of our employers for a national award this year through Anchor, and they received it. So it's amazing how if you use social media consistently and constantly, how much that brings back to your organization. It's invaluable.
I was just going to follow up. Have any of you guys paid for Facebook, and how did that help for different things?
Idea. That was what I was remembering. So we did not do any sponsored posts. We did all organic, and it worked to a point. But when you get into the hiring process, sponsoring was really helpful and beneficial to us. We only put $5 onto our post, so it reached a couple thousand people just from $5. So you kind of think, oh, sponsored, you kind of have to spend hundreds of dollars. You really don't. So look into that for Facebook. I don't know. I don't think Instagram. We've never done Instagram postings, but I do believe you can sponsor those. But Facebook is really cost efficient.
And I just want to add to that, if you're going to boost a post, it's best to have a good performing post before you boost. So make sure you have it up for a couple of days and then boost it.
When you boost the post, is it like a demographic or everybody?
You can target it. So they'll have like, do you want this area, or you can actually go in, I want ages 15 to 30. You can get very targeted in those.
And I don't know about the demographics, but if you think about the youth coming up in our system, those families, that's where they're getting most of their information. It's not from a newsletter. It's not from, that's where they're at.
Yeah. So with targeting, it is nice to know those. It is nice to know those demographics when you're targeting stuff, because then you can go on those posts and I think ours is like 30 to 50-year-old females or something like that. So we see a lot of moms of our clients on there and around that age. So that's probably who we would target. We haven't done a boosted post yet because it just hasn't been necessary yet, but being able to know who to target and seeing all those Facebook demographics, which means you do have to post regularly.
So any of you guys have any other platforms that you're using that you might want to share with us? Don't be quiet. Is anybody utilizing TikTok to do anything, get information out there? It's one of the big things right now.
We do have we have like 1 or 2 videos on TikTok, but that's not where our demographics are at, but it was fun to post on there.
We considered it at the Alpha Group, but I don't know about you guys. Our marketing team doesn't have the time to create that. We do sometimes, but to get through some of our our divisions, it's hard to coordinate that. So TikTok and all these upcoming platforms are great in theory, but just know that you don't have to do it, even though it's the thing.
Even though your boss suggests it.
Yes, even though yes.
That's what she was trying to say politely, because I brought up TikTok.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, like, we've been talking about educating about DSPs and all that kind of stuff. Is that something like the OPRA or the state could utilize to get the message out there to the masses more, I think, on a bigger scale? So we can share it within our organization. So kind of where I was going with it. Thanks, guys. So the next thing we're going to focus on is the website. We feel it's really important to work with a web designer to improve the overall look and feel of your website. Like I said, ours was pretty disorganized. It had a lot of information on when we first got there. And then we really worked with a web designer to help that out. And I know Morgan can talk a little bit here in a minute about what process we're currently going through and keeping it fresh. Select the site with capabilities to edit within in-house, which is extremely important because you're constantly wanting to keep it fresh, right? Select sites with capability to see more measurable results and dashboards. Again, you want to measure your successes through the clicks and views, right? And then platforms like WordPress and based sites. So you guys want to go a little bit into, talk a little bit about?
So we had a board member who redid our website before I got there, and it was like a really great rebranding and everything. But one thing was making sure it is accessible. Ooh. Ooh. You got it. But making sure that like, there's the good color contrasting that goes between things, so it's easily readable. It comes up on mobile, and that is one thing is when you pick your site, make sure whatever you're using has a mobile end that you can go in and edit. So we use Wix, so I can go in and look after I make the website page and see what it's going to look like on mobile and go in and edit it. So it's easily accessed both on your phone and on your desktop. And people who maybe have readability issues, they can read everything. So that's a big thing that people forget about is the accessibility, whether it's on the phones or just people who can't read things well, having captions on pictures, things like that.
So we're in the process of redoing our website. We have a platform called Duda, which is, I've never heard of it. It's Amazon based. Okay. It was set up before I was here. So I am in the mix of doing a WordPress based. I know a lot of companies are through WordPress. It's very easy to use for somebody that doesn't do websites. It's very, okay, here's step 1, go to step 2. Here's step 3, go to step 4. So we're excited to do that, as well as updating our information and our pictures. They're outdated. Our information is still the same, but we're evolving quite well. So we're excited to put that on our website.
So we are actually getting ready to launch a new website, but we worked with Bonfire Red, so we didn't do a lot of it ourselves. However, what's really important if you have a website is to go back to your program leaders and make sure that the content is correct. I don't know exactly what residential is doing or what day programs are doing. So it's really important. And I kind of do a spring cleaning every year and I send it out and say, everybody give me your changes. And then we go back and make sure that everything is updated. Also, navigation. If you've ever been on a website and you're searching and you can't find something, people get frustrated and they leave. So make sure it's super simple. Your menus and drop downs are very easy to find the information that people are going to want.
I was going to say here, from the executive level, we've had people do our website out of house. We now have it in-house. They're both fairly good, but I can tell you during COVID, we need to put up a COVID message right away. So it pops up. This year, help incorporating some of our strategic planning. Right now we have a targeted fundraiser. So it's like, oh, can you do that right now? Because it has a thermometer, how much we've gained in our fundraiser and where we're targeting our funds. So it was kind of more for us in-house because she's pretty excellent at it, that I could, go to her and it's updated and it's right now. And what's interesting is I can see all the inquiries that come through, and it's a lot more than it ever used to be because of that social media pointing back to the website. Then the information is happening there. So.
Yeah, so one thing that has helped boost some of that is, I don't know if any of you know, but as nonprofits, we get $1,000 a month through Google Nonprofit. So you can apply for that. So when you go on Google and you see those little ads, when you search stuff, you can run those ads for like $1,000 a month. And it really, it would never cap up to 1,000 for us. So we don't see like a huge influx, but it's like a decent amount. So when people are searching for disability providers around us, that's like one of the first things they see because I've got those ads running. So that is a really great free resource that you can use.
We talked a lot about social media already, but is there anything that you guys wanted to add to this slide?
So those of you that do it on your own and don't have a marketing person, or if you do have a marketing person, we use Buffer or Hootsuite. It's a scheduling tool where you can schedule posts, and at 3 a.m. you could post them at 3 a.m. And one of the important things to know is when your viewers are looking at your posts. So normally 5 o'clock is when our I guess you would say followers are looking at our stuff. So we try to post more in the evenings and then late at night. So once the kids are down, a lot of people look at our stuff later at night. And then in the mornings too. So you kind of look at your trends on Facebook to see when you want to post things and then post often. Okay.
Anybody else have any comments they'd like to add? You guys are so quiet. All right, this is a little bit about demographics or analytics.
I'll let you guys kind of go over the data here, but basically we wanted to show you by adding for us, marketing person, what our audience was before and what it was afterwards.
Yeah, so you can see our audience grew just like somewhat over the past year. So I've only been there a little over a year now. Instagram's grown a decent amount. We've actually seen some on Twitter and LinkedIn, but it's been more so growing like the comment section, people that are looking and being like, we really enjoy what you're posting, and they really like seeing, you know, some of their friends that are on there and things like that. So yeah, and then it does show that 13.5% of our website traffic we do get from social media. So that's, you know, a decent metric there.
Can you tell when somebody really likes a post? Does it spike? And you guys, so what kind of content do your followers like the most? Do you know?
I mean, a lot of times it's the stuff that we're sharing over into groups. So we've got like the people of Sandusky and Citizens United for Sandusky and things that we share things over to. And really it's when we post pictures of our clients. So like we had a Halloween party and I was posting all their costumes and people like, oh my God, they look so cute. And I love this. And they'll share it out and be like, look at this, you know, person that I know. And then more people are commenting and seeing. So that's the kind of stuff that people want to share. I mean, we do post stuff that's educational about DSPs and talking about our fundraising, but that's not going to get seen as much unless you're also sharing that stuff that people really want to see and share.
I just have a question about how do you deal with, so one of our bottlenecks is photo releases and authorizations and video releases. So we have some really good original content, but it then is like jumping through the hurdles of making sure, well, who's this client? Did they sign a photo release? How long ago did they sign the photo release? Do they understand that they could be put on social media? Like, how do you manage and navigate all of that? Because that's been a real big bottleneck for us.
Yeah, for us, it's part of our annual paperwork, and we have a list of clients that we update every year. So I want to say it goes out with our emergency authorization every year. So we've always done that, always kept it on file. And generally, I want to say it's harder to track down some of the supported employment people, but if we're going to take a picture, we're getting it there that are not in DD, but part of OOD. Actually, I take that back. We do the media release as part of their intake packet in OOD. But what I was going to say, generally, we only have like 2 or 3 people that do not give us authorization.
On top of that, I'm pretty well connected with our program staff as well as the clients. So I try to they know me and then I know them. So I know not everybody can do that, but it's easier for me to take pictures when they know hey, I'm the person taking their picture. Community and services, it's really hard because there's tons of them. So I just work with program staff. Hey, can I meet you at this place for this person? So they kind of help me decide, hey, this person's not really a good fit for you, or they don't have a media release. But in our centers, I try to stay connected with them just so I know, hey, don't take a picture of them. Or sometimes they like to be their pictures taken, but we can't express it to the world. So sometimes they like it for newsletters or whatnot, or annual report. We've used them for those. But so on top of the logistics, I try to stay connected.
So obviously, when we have thousands of clients, that's not possible for us. But I would say always err on the side of not putting something. If I don't care how great the content is, the worst thing you can do is post something if someone in someone's family get upset that their child's on Facebook. But again, it goes to educating our staff. So like I said, I've only been on board 7 months, but we try really hard. We have communication ambassadors. And so we try to have them give us content, because when you post on multiple platforms like we do every day, you need content and good content. And she's absolutely right. The pictures of the clients out in the community or dressing up, that's what the posts that people want to see. So if you are a larger organization and you don't have a dedicated person, I urge you to set up some type of, we call them success stories, and get a flow of content to you. And that works whether it's newsletters or social. And that way you're not, oh, what am I going to post today?
I have a question for you. How do you get those content ambassadors to remember to take pictures to send to you?
You'll be surprised. Most people do take pictures. So it's really not that they're not taking pictures, because there's somebody there that has a phone that's taking pictures. It's getting them to share them with us and confirm that, yes, these people do have releases.
Yeah, for Courtney, I call it the herding of the cats, because that's I would say that's the biggest part of her job, is herding the cats to get her content, pictures, people, because they're busy doing their jobs. So
kind of how we frame it to them is that we know you're doing great things, and we know that you're doing good work, and we want to spotlight your work. So help us help you. Look, we were proud of what you're doing. So
that's great. Yeah. So the marketing material, this is kind of that list. When my board president said you need a marketing person, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? And I'm like, how are we going to keep her busy? And believe me, you will. The first thing, is have a uniform design, which I thought was really neat, is that she created, because she actually came from Tennessee. It was awesome. I was like, somebody's applying from out of state, and she moved up here, and then she created to get to know the DD world. And I remember when I first came in, it took me a year just to get through the acronyms. It's like, what, right? So she created a profile for each of our services of somebody who received that services. So then she knew how to content or draft or market the material to that person. So for example, I think in job coaching, this would be like a typical person we would want to market to, and what that looked like. So it kind of created that uniform design of that content. Yeah, that's kind of that 1-page fact sheet for each department, color schemes. The client spotlights are the neatest, and obviously the most bang for your buck in terms of your marketing. The testimonials, illustrating those. The press releases, amazing. And it's changed our company culture. You're not just talking about your business, attracting clients. We know COVID, if you were here for the previous session, we've all have lost a lot of clients due to COVID. And you have to, you're thinking about 2022 and 23. Are you going to get back to those pre-COVID numbers? Is it going to look a little different? Are you shifting your services? So all that things comes right back to what you're doing daily in terms of marketing, the stories, the videos that I want to say, I think she created 10 to 12 videos just this year alone. That was a lot of video editing. Folders, she does our annual report, she does our newsletters. And for us, we do a lot of grants. So our reporting back to our grants, and then our fundraising. So for us, and I know we're going to get to that, right? I'm kind of going ahead, but the fundraising. Yeah, the fundraising for us is significant in terms of not just where we were 15 years ago, just relying on DD dollars. But now we do a lot of fundraising, and some of it's just awareness to let people know who we are in the community, and some of it actually raises money.
So our next thing is newsletters. I think we've struggled with this. We do paper ones, we do electronic ones, we've done them monthly, we've done them quarterly. You know, how do you get them in the hands of the people that you want to see them? I know that we send them out via email now. I think we list them on our Facebook, they're on our website, so they're out there electronically to everybody. But I think they're important, but I would say for Morgan, probably her biggest struggle is getting the content to be fresh for each newsletter and getting the staff to give that to her. So I would say that's the biggest struggle, to include management staff.
Mhm.
So I guess we're, again, a larger organization. So one of our most productive things is our biweekly family newsletter, and it goes out to about 5,000 people. And you can, if you're on MailChimp or whatever, it's very simple. MailChimp is free, and it's nice because it'll tell you how many people opened it, how many people read it, what time they opened it. So again, getting those analytics to send it when you know people are going to open it is huge. But definitely we send it out. And sometimes it doesn't have to be original content. For our families, maybe there's some initiative in the community of DD. And so we put that on there. So we also use news links and other articles to give us more content, but we know that those families are the ones that are going to be interested in that.
And I want to go back to the company culture. So we are highlighting our employees. We're celebrating anniversaries. We're celebrating birthdays. That's some of the things we do in our newsletter. And then we're doing client spotlights for clients that have earned or have gotten competitive jobs in the community. And then we're also just doing a regular spotlight. So all those things you think about, that's a lot of content in your newsletter. And I think we're at a bi-weekly newsletter. We do internally, we do it, and we also do a client newsletter if there's anything shifting or changing there. And then we do a quarterly newsletter that goes out to all our grants, foundations, all of our fundraising stakeholders, just all of our stakeholders. That's a printed one just because we haven't gotten to the point of emails, but we're in the process of that.
So one more thing about your newsletters, and I know I sound like a broken record, not a lot of text, pictures, videos, links, because if you spend all that time writing it, nobody's reading. Like they normally get again, 6 seconds. So you might be down on the second page where they scroll. So more visual is the better.
And I also think for us, we have tried newsletter after newsletter and people don't read them. So the opposite of social media, I don't know if it's for you guys either, but we tried to limit when we send out a newsletter, because I've heard some people say oh, you send too many emails, or, oh, I get your emails. So to me, that was all right, we send too many. But we also send emails because of our fundraising. Our fundraising is quite large at Alpha. So we want that engagement. So in order to keep people reminded of our fundraisers, we need to be in front of them. But where do you draw that line of, oh, I'm sending too many emails plus our newsletter and some highlights or something? So that's another comment, I guess, on newsletters.
So I know they do a lot of email. We do not do a lot of emails. Laura kind of mentioned, we try, but getting people's physical email addresses to send stuff to is a lot harder than getting addresses from all the lists that we've had over the years. So we mail out to, I think, 500 some people for our quarterly newsletter. And I think I've got 200 people on our email list right now. So I'm doing a monthly newsletter, and we try to, advertise it on social media and in our physical newsletter to get people to sign up. But don't worry if you don't have that email list. It takes a while to build up.
Yeah, and that quarterly one is because I just don't want to be in front of our fundraising donors and foundations just one time a year and say, hey, where's my money? We want to be in front of them at least 4 times a year, thanking them if they're giving donations. If they've sponsored a big fundraising event, that's when we want to highlight those things.
What platform do you guys utilize to store your emails and addresses and that kind of stuff? That might be nice for some of them to know.
Excel. Yeah, anything that's gonna like really store donor information and things like that is pricey. We've kind of looked into some, and we are smaller, so Excel works pretty easily. But all our emails, we're just using MailChimp, so they're stored in there. And I've also put them into the Excel sheet that I've got all our addresses listed in.
We do pay for Constant Contact. There's a lot of different things that you can do with Constant Contact. So we just felt that it's been there since I was there, but I agree with Constant Contact over MailChimp, but that's a personal preference. We have used, we started with Snowball this year. We'll talk about it within fundraising, but it has the ability to utilize that donor, what were we talking about? Yeah, the donor management in that software.
And we use Salesforce. So I will tell you, Salesforce is great for fundraising and keeping track of stuff, but it is not good for newsletters. I use MailChimp and import it into Salesforce. So no.
Yeah.
Again,
They're big.
big company. There's no way we can keep track. If we have 5,000 people on our email list, there's no way we can do it on an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
We're going to the panel question next. Do you want me to?
Sure.
Oops.
No. Okay, so obviously we branded. We used to be Double S Industries, and then when we privatized in 2007, we rebranded to Ability Works, which helped with that privatization process. But we used to have a different look and a different logo. And then I believe it was 2019, 2020, where we actually changed our logo, our color schemes and all that. But I want to say, it did take that 12, 15 years of rebranding and getting out of the community. But it's amazing what rebranding will do for your organization, not just in terms of people knowing who you are, but also, it's just easy when you have a consistent theme, with letterheads, postcards, those kind of things. Just when you're involving all your funders, and especially I want to say your fundraising events, when you have a quality logo and all that.
Well, for us, we rebranded in 2013 when I came on board. But for us, we have it on all of our vehicles, and we have a pretty large transportation fleet. So it's just like a rolling billboard for us out there. And you'll be amazed when you talk to people. They say, "Oh, I saw one of your vehicles. What I know what do you guys do?" Or tell me a little bit more about what you guys do. So
yeah, it's pretty crazy when I go to different events, to like community things, when I talk to people and they're like, what's Ability Works? So really, having that logo and all the consistent branding to where they see that orange and gray coloring and they know that's us, whether it's on social media, flyers, anything, it does help a lot. And keeping it consistent through your website, through rack cards, business cards, everything, even email signatures. And it's a process sometimes. I mean, I'll be tracking down employees like, please change your email signature.
Yeah, we have all of our social media links right on everybody's email signature that actually is an active link. And that was like just kind of blew my mind away. You can do that? And she's like, yes. On our email signature, we have a link. It's a picture icon that then links to that social media presence. So all those different Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they're all it's an active link, so they can just click it right through your email signature.
And it is kind of annoying to set that up for everybody. It's like most of our DSPs, I'm like, just put the image there. You're good to go. You're not emailing that many people, but management and people that are emailing a lot, like it's really nice to have that on there so you can just click through and they'll make it to your Facebook or Instagram from your email. So that is really nice.
So I think rebranding, you have to, your brand is how people know you. So I don't think it should be entered into lightly. But once you reach a point that it's no longer representative of your organization, then it's definitely time. We've been around since 1980 and we started as Franklin County Residential Services. So we have added a bunch of different services and we're no longer in Franklin County. So we rebranded to I Am Boundless in 2018. And I just echo what she says, everything has to have the right colors, the right logos, and getting everybody to use that. We have an actual internal brand link that people can go in and get letterhead and whatever they need that's already branded for their letters. So that again, with a large organization, everybody's doing the same thing.
I know there's various sizes of organizations in here. When we started our branding project, we worked with our local college, Ohio Wesleyan University. They usually have groups within their colleges that will work on special projects for you because they want to build their portfolio as they get towards graduation. So I would encourage you, if you're in a college town, to reach out and talk to the college and see if they have any special groups that want to work with you.
Yeah, this is just an example of, you think about branding and it's not just a newsletter, envelope, all that, but think about the job fairs you're going to, the hiring events, the giveaways. Then, we have all our rack cards at our county boards. So everything's consistent and then we all go to one source for our letterhead and all that. Just gives you an example.
So these are just reasons that you might want to consider rebranding. Your leadership changes when a brand just needs to be made over. We just went through one last year. We did a 50th celebration logo. It turned out really nice. And your customers evolve and repositioning your brand. You guys want to add anything? Laura?
Nope.
I apologize for the slides. I'm not sure what happened. Anyways, community involvement is really big, especially at a leadership level. I mean, and with that throughout your organization. But it's really important for us to get out there and be part of our communities, join any civic organizations you can be part of, Rotary, Kiwanis, that kind of stuff. Chamber events. I mean, I know there's a lot of them, especially in our area, but they have after hours, they have before hours, they have third Thursdays, they have new member orientations, meet and greets at different businesses. So I know they're tedious, but if you have time as a business leader, it's nice to get out there and talk to other leaders in your community doing something different. Business associations, get involved as much as you can. They might share some referrals to you from time to time. Leadership programs. I've been through several: Delaware Leadership, Dublin Leadership. I know I've sent Morgan through a couple. I have created some lifelong friendships through those programs, and I've learned a tremendous amount and get to know your community a little bit better. Boards. I know we're all very busy people, but it's important to get involved in your community, give your time back, go sit on a couple of boards if you can for a nonprofit or your chamber. You'll be amazed at what you get back in return for that.
Yeah, and don't think you have to do this all. I share it with my management team, share the fun. We all kind of conquer and divide, with those safety councils and the chamber and all that. So we divide it up.
I try to. I do a lot of it, but face-to-face networking is always important. Whenever you can get in front of somebody rather than talking to them on the phone. I hate getting emails. I'd rather get a phone call or somebody stop in and talk to me, but it's personal preference. Everybody's different, right? And then again, attending community events whenever you're possible. Go to other fundraisers. If you want them to come to your fundraiser, attend their fundraiser. If they're having an annual meeting, go to their annual meeting. Just
How many people do fundraising on their own? Raise your hand. Yeah. I mean, it's something we definitely never thought of 5 years ago, I want to say at least. We had some community awareness things, but the amazing that how much fundraising you can do and how much your community is begging you, what can we help out? What can we sponsor? It's amazing. I suggest you highly think about fundraising.
Well, being involved in all of these things actually helps with the
Right.
fundraising because they get to know you. If you do a personal ask as the leader of the organization, they're pretty most likely going to come or sponsor. You know, if Morgan has a hard time getting a sponsorship, I'll send out a letter, email, or call.
Mhm.
And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna do it from that request. Do you guys want to add? Partnerships. So we have a lot of partnerships, probably like all of you within your community, with local schools, hospitals, libraries, parks, senior centers, other businesses and nonprofits, government, foundations, and colleges. But I feel like they're extremely important and we need to celebrate them whenever we possibly can.
And this is just mainly a resource for you if you're, if you're trying to develop those partnerships.
So, a question for the panel: how do you guys recognize your community partners?
So we do a lot of stuff like thanking people on Facebook or sending thank you notes. But we kind of stole from y'all for a little bit. We did during the employment month, we had a little celebration and invited out some of the businesses that we work with and community partners and did a little award ceremony. So we're hoping to keep that going. Because it went pretty well. Just to, I even made some connections with people that were like, "Oh, we'd love for you to come out and take pictures while one of your clients is out there working." And it's networking and thanking people. So that was great.
Yeah, and if you're placing those people in those competitive jobs, what a good way to keep that relationship going. Or you used to do something with them a long time ago, maybe you had a group employment contract, but get them back involved again. Maybe there's another opportunity. So it's really a great time to recognize back.
We do a pairings with Alpha event, so it's completely free for our sponsors and our donors. We get food and beverages are donated, so then that's where the pairings come together. So we do that event in the fall. Kind of just a hey, come and mingle, but we do give awards out for different categories that we do have, and then we recognize our clients for the work that they do as well. We also recognize them in our annual report, and then at events we recognize them through that. Of course, social media and other ways we can recognize them.
In addition to that, I would just, again, lift up LinkedIn. That's where your companies have more following. And so when you tag them, they get really excited and normally share those. So whenever you can get them to share, again, it's what they're saying about you, not what you're saying about you. The city that you're in may be a really good partnership. We're in Worthington, and we were able to get a grant to do podcasts about COVID. And we had 5 different podcasts. It was completely paid for. And we invited in Worthington Industries and we invited in Children's Hospital. So getting them on a podcast, and then they go back to their company and they share that podcast with everybody, gives them a lot of recognition. So podcasts are not that hard. So
and I'm going to take another temperature. How many people are actually publishing and distributing your annual report? Yeah. So, I mean, before 2018, it's just something we never did it, I think, as a DD industry. But, that annual report, I know all my foundations look at it. So that's, your community wants to know what's going on.
We create an annual report, and we very limit print them. We send them out mostly via email or electronic link. We have it in our signature at the bottom of our emails. So we've tried to really cut back on that expense, and it seems to have been successful for us.
Right. And it's not really, we don't share like how much we share how much we spent on management versus programs. We recognize our donors. We recognize how much we fundraise, and it's a lot of pictures. It's not like a tax kind of thing, So it's very friendly to the community to realize, to know who we are and what we do.
I totally agree about not printing too many, but do print some, because when you go to business meetings with companies, they have annual reports and they expect to see your annual report. It's a really good one-piece look at your organization.
And I would highly suggest outsourcing the printing if you can. It just looks. I was just saying, I would highly suggest outsourcing the printing if you can. It looks so much better, so much more professional. And if you're going for some of those grants or donations, you absolutely want to have something professional in your hands when you go to meet with them.
Use that to your advantage. So if you use a printing company, ask for a donation or a sponsor because you partnered with them on that. Keep it. Go ahead. Okay.
If an organization is not fundraising, why do you feel it's important?
This is a loaded question, so I'll keep it short. But I'd say brand awareness is one of them. Like you guys, you do more brand marketing type of things, and then you're fundraising. So once they see you have a fundraiser, a lot of them are more apt to come to your events because they're aware of your brand. And then flexibility to utilize funds where state funding is low. So we have purchased vehicles in the past where we might have not been able to if we didn't have the fundraising dollars. And then we've also, I don't know if you want to talk about TAG, but our community living department or housing that we just started, we were able to fund that too.
So I think we're always fundraising, whether it's indirectly or directly. You should always be thinking about building relationships because people give money to people. So for example, we had an organization that we've made a relationship with. Then they ended up giving us a bunch of donated furniture for about $100,000 for a new program we're having. And next Friday, they're doing an event for us, like a very large event, and we are just the beneficiary. So I think you should always be thinking about how can I build this relationship? How can I share stories, again, about what we're doing to get people excited? And we also do the old-fashioned end of the year solicitation letters. And again, we don't have our CEO send that out. We have a really satisfied parent talk about how their family has changed this year. And they are the ones that say, I invest in this organization and I'm asking you to do as well. So that's something we do. Events with COVID have not been possible. So we've done a lot of small things. Like we had a news story about one of our clients who really loved the Echo Dot. He's a DJ. People actually pay him to go around and use this Echo Dot and play music. So we had so much positive on that. We did a fundraiser. We want to put an Echo Dot in all of our intermediate care facilities. And we did the thermometer, like you said, and we exceeded that goal. So now all of our people in those facilities have their own Echo Dot. People like something achievable, like it's $50. And I just, they only need 2 more. So when you can't have events, all of those smaller things for specific asks do add up.
So I think fundraising is important because you get that extra stuff that you might not normally be able to purchase. So we had some donors and then additional fundraising where we built our Clark Family Sensory Space. So that's a great free community resource that helps people with different sensory needs interact with this sensory room. So it was a great project. And then we're currently fundraising for these really awesome interactive whiteboards that we can use for educational purposes. So it's that extra stuff that you probably normally wouldn't be able to purchase that you can with fundraising.
I'm just going to add a little bit to what Morgan said earlier. This year, we created a separate nonprofit for a housing corporation, and we were able to donate $100,000 to that housing corporation to kind of keep the rent low for that for that new company. So it's been good for us. Have you seen the impact in grant funding due to marketing and communications? And if so, how has that impacted? How's it?
Laura does most of all the grant writing and everything, but I do know, I think she touched on it earlier, just having all those pictures and websites and things that they can look at really helps. I mean, she had me taking pictures of people putting on PPE and everything to include in something. And I've attached a lot of videos to stuff she's used. So it's really great that they can physically see what the money is going to be going to.
And especially if it's not only applying for the grant, usually most of my foundations want a report afterward. they want to show you whatever it was, like right now, the interactive boards, it's not for my DSPs. It's actually for the clients, because right now there's free apps out there that they can go up and they can touch the screen and they can make the choices. So it's those pictures of them using whatever what the intended grant was for is part of the follow-up. And again, I don't have time to run around and take pictures all the time. So hence the marketing person.
Yeah, I was just going to add that we're fans of recycling. So if you have a really good story and a testimonial in your marketing, you can use that on social. You can also use that as documentation for your grant support. So you may already have, when you have a marketing person, you already have stuff ready. So when a grant comes out and it's a tight deadline, you can say, oh, we had so-and-so in housing, let's use that. So again, just recycle, especially if you're doing everything yourself. If you have a good story, you can use it in multiple places.
And we're probably the smallest organization here, and our grants last year over $40,000. So that's a lot of money, and if we had more time, we could probably do more. But
We've applied for multiple grants over the years as well, but one of the couple that we get right now is through our aging. So they give us some grant dollars that we utilize to help the individuals utilize to go out on fundings, because we all know they have limited resources. So we want them to be able to go out on outings throughout the year, and that's what we utilize that money for. And then through my relationships and being in part of these other organizations, we were able to secure a grant from the Delaware Foundation, and that gentleman actually purchased a vehicle for us, and as well gives the money directly to the individuals for like birthday gifts and have special parties and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some of the grant, I just want to go over some of the grants we had last year. If everybody, I don't know if everybody applied for the BWC grant. We got all new high-low tables for all the individuals we served. I think it was over $20,000. The other thing we did is we got rid of towers, computer towers for all our staff. Now we have laptops that they can take anywhere. Then we also got some tablets for clients. And then our latest campaign is for those interactive boards. So, I mean, just think how much that changes your programming and your company culture when they have a laptop instead of a tower, and they're quarantined, and they need to be able to work from home. That was a game changer for us this past year. Are we getting close to the end?
Yeah. I think we only have a couple minutes left here. We thought we were gonna have a hard time filling up the whole hour, but yeah, we won't show the videos, but we're gonna let the girls talk about the fundraisers real fast.
Yeah, so just real quick, we've got like two main fundraisers we've done in the past. So the 0.5K/donut eating contest, which is our big thing, which is pretty fun. And spaghetti dinner talent show.
Mhm.
And then we're trying to do our first golf fundraiser. And then we also do a lot of restaurant fundraisers throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is call up a restaurant. Like we just called up, we got a Raising Cane's finally in Sandusky, Ohio. I know you have them all over here in Columbus, but they're like, hey, can we do a fundraiser? Yeah, just make up a flyer and we'll donate whatever proceeds for that day. How easy. So we do a lot of restaurant fundraisers because it's just one day, a flyer, and that's it. You just share it out on social media and you get so much proceeds. I mean, just easy way to start.
We do something a little different. Restaurant fundraisers did not work for our organization, but we do a 5,000 rubber duck race here every summer. And we also do a casino night, which we've replaced it this year with a reverse raffle. So our casino night was 8 years. We did it for 8 years. So we decided that this year, maybe we'd have to go virtual again. So our reverse raffle would be the best option. And we brought in a comedian. So our area does not have that often. So we were excited for that. And then also donation pushing and the silent auction were some of our other fundraising opportunities.
Do you want to have time for questions?
Yeah. So they just provided you with the resources up here. We're not going to go through the whole list of them. And then finally, OPRA has agreed to allow us to have a marketing communications committee starting at the beginning of the year. Melissa Fannin will be running that through OPRA. And we're going to meet monthly, and I'm going to be chairing the committee, and Morgan is going to be co-chairing the committee with Melissa's help. So if you're interested, please email her. We'd love to have you all as part of the group so that we can network and talk a little bit more. Any questions? Sorry for taking up the whole hour.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much for this, Laura and panel. We will be back in 20 minutes. Sorry, panel.